is up, everyone?
Welcome back to a Mile Higher Podcast, episode 68. And today we are talking about the haunted Amityville house murders. Did I just say that wrong?
Yeah, no, that was right.
Did I do it right? Okay. That has been the biggest thing in this whole research process is figuring out exactly how to say Amityville.
Amityville.
It's like a silent T, kinda.
Sort of, yeah. It's like, kind of hard to say, Amityville.
But I'm sure many of you have heard of this, probably from the movie.
The Amityville Horror.
Yes, which I do not partake in such movies personally, but Josh has seen it, and I'm sure many of you have.
And there has been a bunch of Amityville movies, which is really interesting about this. But what a lot of people don't understand is it's not just about the haunting that may or may not have occurred at this house.
Yes.
In Amityville,
which we
New
will
York.
Be exploring the paranormal side of things as well, but it's also
really a true crime case. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This episode is going to be very much a true crime case.
Yes.
With some paranormal elements to it for sure.
Yes.
Super interesting stuff. But before we get into today's news topics, I wanted to quickly remind all of you, if you're in the Austin area or in Texas for that matter, or if you just want to come out and, meet us and see our first live show, we're going to be in Austin at the RTX convention,
yes,
July 5th to the 7th. And I just got word that we will be doing sort of a meet and greet panel signing type of thing on Saturday, July 6th from 12 to 1:30, I believe.
Nice.
And yeah, so you can meet us there, and then we'll be doing a live show on Sunday from 3 to 4 p.m., which should be interesting. I mean, who knows how the hell it'll go, but
yeah, this is going to be really out of our elements. It's going to be a big
challenge for us.
Yeah, but come support us because this is like a big challenge for us.
Hopefully there'll be at least like one person there that is like a fan. Hopefully.
Oh my gosh, I would hope so. That would be really awkward if no one gave a fuck about us. They're like, get off the stage, bring the next person in.
Well, what's funny is like I saw in the schedule that if any of you out there know who Philip DeFranco is.
Yes, Philly D.
You can actually come on Saturday and, meet us and whatever, but then you can hang around right after, and Philip DeFranco's going to be
right after us.
Same place as us.
Same place, same time. So does that mean we get to meet Philly D?
We'll be like finishing up our like signing and then getting in line to get Philip's signature.
Hey, Phil. We'll get out of your way, man. That'll be so cool. So we're really excited. It's going to be a huge experience for us, and we hope many of you will come out and join us. So again, this is in Austin, July 5th through the 7th. There'll be information in the description box if you're on YouTube.
Yep. We'll put the ticket link in the description. But let's go ahead and jump into today's, this week's topics. So first one we've got is a very bizarre one. Human decomposition is now legal.
I wanted to talk about this specifically this week because this was super interesting to me. Fascinating, actually. And I can't believe that we honestly haven't already been doing this for a long time. It seems like the kind of natural
seems kind of common sense way. Like we would have this already.
And I'm sure at many times in our history, this was the standard way of doing things. Probably.
I don't know, though. I think we've been burying people in, caskets and coffins, and as well as cremation for as long as time has gone on.
Even like natives and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, but they still buried their dead. So this is different.
Probably buried in things that decompose it.
Right. All human bodies decompose, right? At some point.
Well, not if you're like embalmed and in a little box.
True. That is true.
It's creepy thinking about what you'd look like after 100 years.
It is.
Like, I just don't like that. I like this so much better. So let's tell you guys what this is, because some of you are probably like, wait, what?
So where is it legal? What's going on with this? So Washington has become the first state in the United States to legalize the composting of human remains, which offers people a more eco-friendly alternative to traditional burial or cremation. That's what this is really about, is like eco-friendly, right? This is the eco-friendly way to, bury or, say goodbye to a loved one, or rather than like, because cremation requires energy. There's, CO2 from the furnaces, things like that.
Right, it releases. Mm-hmm.
Right? You still produce some sort of pollution from that. And then
it's not
obviously
completely green.
Putting people in boxes or caskets or whatever else people are buried with into the ground.
Yeah.
You're kind of leaving them. I mean, you're preserving that person, or like, cemeteries, things like that. Whereas what this is basically going to do is allow you to, once you pass away, your body is placed in a module filled with organic matter. So like wood chips and straw.
Yeah.
which help reduce the moisture content of the body to about 65%. And then they're going to use alfalfa as an activator, which provides nitrogen and protein to speed up the breakdown process. So they're going to use natural elements to speed up the decomposition process so that everything, including bones and teeth, turns into compost.
Within like 4 weeks,
That's what's crazy about this.
The time's really quick.
30 days.
Yeah, like 4 weeks.
So you're put into a steel container for 30 days. Kind of like if any of you out there compost, like composting bins.
Yeah.
It's like a human composting bin.
Yeah.
That you're put into.
Well, kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
I love the idea of this. I love the idea of like going back to the earth. This is how I'm gonna go. I've already decided. I really like this.
Write it in the will right now. Kendall would like to be composted.
I like this because
note taken.
Here's the cool thing about it. After the 4 weeks or the 30 days or whatever, you get to pick up your loved one's like giant bed of soil.
Yeah, it's
just
dry,
straight
fluffy
up soil that you can then take to your house and plant like a bunch of flowers in it or something. And I think that's so sweet that you can go out versus having to go to like a graveyard and just sit like when you know that they're just in a box under the ground. That's kind of weird to me. I like that this is like they literally become part of your earth. And then the flowers they're growing through the flowers. And I think it's such a beautiful thing. And I think more states are going to follow Washington on this, and this is going to become a really popular thing.
Oh yeah, I bet you Colorado will be one of the next people, just because it seems like Washington, like probably California, Colorado.
But wouldn't that be crazy if you're like over at someone's house and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is my grandma. Like it's a flower bed now, but
or they just had a composting bin outside and their dead loved ones in it." That's kind of weird.
Oh, that's
I don't know
weird.
if you'll have the bin.
No, you don't have the bin.
It's a facility.
Yes, you pick it up from the facility. The soil thing.
Yeah,
it's
the
like
actual company.
You can choose, I was reading, you can choose to get like a small amount of the soil to just have like a pot of it, or you can get the entire thing, all of it.
Yeah, which makes sense. But I kind of like that idea better because if you think about ashes, like what do you do with ashes? You can't really do anything with it other than just like sprinkle them out and there they go.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I understand why people
versus
do it.
This stays put, but it's also part of the ground and part of the earth, and it's like recycling ourselves.
It's
I just
like
love that.
Life reborn.
I really don't like the idea of being cremated for some reason, but I even more don't like the idea of being buried in a casket. So this is the first option I've heard that I'm like, oh, I could get behind this. Like, I like this. I'm gonna die this way.
In the middle of the road type end of life thing. Because if you think about it, it's like, would I rather be 6 feet under or would I rather be scattered to the winds to who knows where my ashes go? Plus the idea of my body being
too, though. That'd be my second choice.
But the idea of my body being put into a furnace.
That's really it. I can't even think about it. It bothers me so much. Oh, sorry. I'm live streaming.
Yeah,
For those of you who don't know, I live stream on the Instagram on Mile Higher Podcast. We live stream the intro topics on there. Sorry. But anyway.
No, I like that idea. I'm with you. Let's do it together. I'd say we'll tell our kids, we'll be like, kids, when we go, you need to compost us together.
Well, what if we're 5 years apart or
that's
something?
Fine. Keep us alive, or not keep us alive.
Keep us alive.
No, put us in a cryo tank. Put us in the cryonic. Freeze us.
I'm going to be like, put me in the ground right away. And when your dad's ready, have him
plant
join me.
a tree next to him.
Yeah.
Would you want to
two beds of flowers next to each other.
It would be cool though that like the succulent garden right here is made up of soil from my loved one.
Yeah, because then you're absorbing like nutrients from the body into the plants, and I think it's really beautiful. It's like kind of, I don't know, the circle of life.
Reborn.
It's amazing.
It's creating life from death.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I think it's really cool.
It's very cool.
So yeah, that was really interesting. And then the other thing a lot of you guys were tweeting us about.
Yes.
That was pretty big, honestly. NASA. So they put out a new video on YouTube and it's got 10 million plus views. It's called We Are Going. And it's about essentially what the hell has NASA been up to. For one, we haven't seen really much from them in a long time. And obviously we haven't been to the moon. We haven't really been doing anything space wise in a long time. So NASA put out this video and we're going to go in and play it just because it's a couple minutes long, but it's really interesting and it gives you a good idea of where things are headed with NASA.
50 years ago, we pioneered a path to the moon. The trail we blazed cut through the fictions of science and showed us all what was possible.
It's very pretty out here.
Today, our calling to explore is even greater. To go farther, we must be able to sustain missions of greater distance and duration. We must use the resources we find at our destinations. We must overcome radiation, isolation, gravity, and extreme environments like never before. These are the challenges we face to push the bounds of humanity. We're going to the moon to stay by 2024, and this is how.
This all starts with the ability to get larger, heavier payloads off-planet and beyond Earth's gravity.
For this, we designed an entirely new rocket.
The Space Launch System. SLS will be the most powerful rocket ever developed.
And with components in production
And more in testing?
This system is capable of being the catalyst for deep space missions
we need a capsule.
that can support humans from launch
through deep space and return safely back to Earth.
For this, we've built Orion.
This is NASA's next-generation human space capsule.
Using data from lunar orbiters that continue to reveal the moon's hazards and resources.
We're currently developing an entirely new approach to landing and operating on the moon.
Using our commercial partners to deliver science instruments and robotics to the surface, we are paving the way for human missions in 2024.
Our charge is to go quickly and to stay, to press our collective efforts forward with a fervor that will see us return to the moon in a manner that is wholly different than 50 years ago.
We want lunar landers that are reusable.
That can land anywhere on the lunar surface.
The simplest way to do so is to give them a platform in orbit around the moon from which to transition.
An orbiting platform to host deep space experiments and be a waypoint for human capsules. We call this lunar outpost Gateway.
The beauty of the Gateway is that it can be moved between orbits
It will balance between the Earth and Moon's gravity.
in a position that is ideal for launching even deeper space missions.
In 2009, we learned that the moon contains millions of tons of water ice.
This ice can be extracted and purified for water. It can be separated in oxygen for breathing or hydrogen for rocket fuel.
The moon is quite uniquely suited
to prepare us and propel us to Mars and beyond.
This is what we are building.
This is what we're training for.
This we can replicate throughout the solar system.
This is the next chapter of human space exploration.
Humans are the most fragile element of this entire endeavor, and yet we go for humanity. We go to the moon and on to Mars to seek knowledge and understanding and to share it with all. We go knowing our efforts will create opportunities that cannot be foreseen. We go because we are destined to explore and see it with our own eyes. We turn towards the moon now, not as a conclusion, but as preparation, as a checkpoint toward all that lies beyond. Our greatest adventures remain ahead of us. We are going.
We're going.
We are going.
We are going. We're going.
Hell fucking yeah, dude. I am going.
Are you?
I'm signing up.
Well, it's really interesting. There goes the whole, they've never gone to the moon thing. I wonder if they're like, we've been getting a lot of shit about not going to the moon in a really long time. We better get our asses up there.
Yeah, well, I think that could be part of it, but
it is kind of funny.
The main thing was, honestly, that kind of kickstarted this is Trump. Like, this is one thing that I really am like, yay for, good job, Trump, like, for taking the space seriously. Like, NASA.
Yeah, that is true.
Kind of like he came out and was like, we need to be back on the moon. We got to, kind of take control of space a little bit, because that's literally where I think
the future is going.
Yeah, that's where like the next frontier is for civilization, I believe. And from this, so the short summary is basically they're going to the moon by 2024, and they're going to stay there. They're going to build a colony, a base on the moon, which they'll be in for, a while they get that set up. And then eventually by the 2030s, they said, go to Mars and beyond with the help of that Gateway station.
Yeah. So is Elon Musk planning to get there before them? Isn't he planning to go like even sooner?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. That's what's so weird about it is what are all these, I mean, I guess these private space companies are going to be doing their own thing too, as well as other countries, obviously. I'm sure like China and some of these, Russia, places like that are gearing up. I mean, it's going to be really interesting, I think, in the next 10 to 30 years or so to see what happens with space and see, if all this comes to fruition and like we
How
actually
exciting
see,
that would be to watch that.
like imagine like in 20 years being able to like flip on the TV and you're watching a live stream of astronauts on the moon in their colony or something, or you're able to see a live stream of people on Mars in their colony. But it really does seem like, and we've talked about this over and over again the past couple of weeks, because it seems like it's really ramping up this idea of space colonization and missions into deep space and beyond. Like we're
and the
really,
reason
like,
behind
going.
it seems to like build a new frontier. Like that seems like what they're doing.
And
that's like what the conversation around it seems to be like, to propel us into the future, to get to Mars. It's a launching point between Mars. So God, I don't understand the whole Mars thing though, because Mars is way worse than Earth. Like why try to make Mars livable when the Earth, we should be working on fixing our own planet too.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's a valid argument. It's a valid argument for sure. Because, I mean, Mars, we're going to have to like terraform and stuff. We're going to have to artificially colonize it because there's no atmosphere. It's barren wasteland there.
We might have to do the same thing they're doing on Mars, like extracting the water, separating oxygen, getting oxygen out. It's a whole, like might have to steam all the water out of the soil. It's like so over the top versus we could just fix our perfect fucking planet we have and just make sure that stays working for years to come.
Or it's beyond repair and they know that.
But I feel like Mars is worse beyond repair. Like chances are Mars was lived on at one point and there was some type of nuclear incident or war or something, major impact from space, something like that. And there's a reason why. I mean, there's proof that there's like radiation and stuff in Mars. Like, so why would we want to go live on Mars?
I think when they talk about Mars, it's more of like pushing humanity forward. It's like a big step for mankind to prove
but it sounds
that they
to me
can
like
do that.
they're like looking towards
for somewhere to live. Yeah. Well, not only
I think
that,
the tube that what's his face came up with, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
The live in the big tube thing, that I feel like would be better than trying to rehab Mars. Mars looks pretty fucking bad to me. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to live on Mars.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what they're going to do with Mars. I mean,
I think Arizona's hot.
Well, for all we know, there could be a completely livable area within it. Have you ever thought about the possibility of like a hollow planet? Like what if there's a planet that has a totally another...
That's a whole nother story.
No, I know. But I'm just saying like even Mars could have something underneath the surface. Like we know there's water.
There's a lot of people
it.
that think that there's like a whole civilization of people that live in Mars that at one point lived on top of the surface, but have gone inside.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty interesting stuff.
Maybe we're going back to link up with them.
Maybe. Link up.
Hey guys, what's up?
It's been a while. Long time.
It's been a while. Yeah, no, it's really interesting though. I actually
what do you think of the
have
video?
A little bit of faith in that. I mean, it's a great video. I get why it's got so many views. I mean, I think all of us have been wondering like, what the hell has NASA been doing?
I just feel like there's such a secrecy with NASA. Like we just get
kind of bullshit answers on stuff. Yeah. I mean, we probably do. I mean, there's probably
and that
more
video
reasons.
Felt so scripted and fake and like.
Well, yeah.
I would have appreciated more of like a check out what we're doing, like behind the scenes look, just like a dude walking around showing us. But it's like this whole. That almost felt like a political campaign.
Oh, I think it is, and I think it's a stunt to try to like increase their good image, or improve their image to the world. Because I think they have been getting shit on lately, and especially since conspiracies has kind of come back into, popular society, a lot of people are starting to look at the NASA conspiracies
Say,
and
what's up? Why haven't we gone to the moon since the 70s?
Dude, yeah, exactly.
73, right?
Why has it been so fucking long? Why has it been years and years and years?
73?
Yeah. It's been a long time that we haven't done shit. And we haven't even been to the other side of the moon. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So...
Well, that'll be interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, it definitely will be. So good old NASA. But let's go ahead and get into the Amityville murders first.
Yes.
But before we do, I want to thank our sponsors for today.
This episode is brought to you by Quip, which is one of our favorite sponsors of all time. Quip is truly one of Josh and I's favorite products that we have found in the past year. It really modernizes the toothbrush. Now, I have never thought a toothbrush could be anything decorative or something cute in your bathroom, but I was wrong. Quip has a really sleek, stylish design. It really looks like the toothbrush of the future. And the case is really unique and compact. You can take the toothbrush, put it in the case, and take it with you to go, or you can actually stick the case to the mirror, which I don't even understand. This thing never gets unsticky, and it doesn't leave any sticky residue on your mirror, and it only sticks to mirrors. I don't understand it, but it's amazing. Another thing that we love about Quip is that it has a 2-minute timer. Now, I bet you anything you are not brushing your teeth for 2 minutes. I definitely wasn't until I actually started using the timer on the Quip toothbrush, and it basically vibrates to let you know to switch into a different section of your mouth. It breaks your mouth into 4 different quadrants so that you get every single area. Quip is one of the first electric toothbrushes accepted by the American Dental Association, and they're backed by over 25,000 dental professionals. They have thousands of verified 5-star reviews, and now Quip has a kids brush. It's the same as their old version, just tweaked for smaller mouths. And this will help kids inspire to brush better and improve their oral hygiene habits, which helps them develop a grown-up routine without the childish gimmicks. So we love Quip. There are over 1 million happy, healthy mouths that do too. Quip starts at just $25. And if you go to quip.com/milehigher right now, you can get your first refill pack for free. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/milehigher, getquip.com/milehigher today.
So if you're like me, you probably deal with stress and anxiety, probably on a daily basis. I mean, I know I do, and it can be oftentimes hard to just deal with it and find a way to alleviate that stress. You know, with all the things that are going on in this world right now and how crazy everything is, it can be really hard to even just sleep at night. So what can you actually do to help alleviate that stress, help you sleep better, as well as help with your anxiety? Well, today I'm here to tell you that we are partnering with Calm, the #1 app to help you reduce your anxiety and stress and help you sleep better. More than 40 million people around the world have downloaded it already. If you head to calm.com/milehigher, you'll get 25% off a Calm premium subscription. And what's really cool about your subscription is it includes a lot of different things like guided meditations on issues like stress, anxiety, and focus, as well as a brand new meditation for you every single day. There's also one of my favorite things called sleep stories, which are literally bedtime stories for adults designed to just help you relax. Right now, Mile High listeners get 25% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/milehigher. That's CALM.com/milehigher. Get unlimited access to all of Calm's content today at calm.com/milehigher.
The first part of this true crime paranormal topic we're going to start with is the murders, because that's what happened first. So the Amityville murders is really the most terrifying thing about this house. That's supposed to be a lot of people consider it the most haunted house in America. It's tons of tourists still to this day that go to this house because of just how famous it is, really. I mean, the amount of movies and stuff that have been made about it and books and things like that, which we'll talk about, is actually really crazy. So,
and I mean, even like I had heard of it, even though I really just hate scary movies. It's so interesting. I am not at all afraid to watch like a documentary on this or to learn about the truth about it, or real murders don't scare me, but I really just don't like horror movies. I don't like to see it acted out
a little bit. Like, I mean, I didn't even want to watch it for this because I didn't want it to get confused in my head with the real story. I like to focus on real stuff. I don't like over dramatized fake things, and I don't enjoy being scared. I don't like the idea of like things popping out and scaring me. Like, I don't like that feeling of jumping, and a lot of people like that. It just gives me anxiety. Yeah.
I'm an anxiety riddled mess all during scary movies. It's not a fun experience for me. So I don't really watch them, but documentaries, like crime documentaries, don't scare me at all. It just is so interesting to me. I don't know. A lot of people don't understand that, but I've watched like maybe 3 scary movies in my whole life. Anyway.
Yeah. So me, on the other hand, I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum. So I have always liked scary movies. I've liked especially paranormal movies. which is really funny because I grew up obviously in a very religious household, and I was taught that like demons and spirits and ghosts and everything were literally straight from hell. Like,
yeah,
like this was Satan's work.
Well, honestly, dude, I feel like a lot of religious people end up being interested in these types of movies or like them later on in their life because they're like banned as a kid. So it's like, ooh,
right.
Scary.
No, that's exactly what it is. Cause I was banned from watching any sort of scary movie until one of my friends came along who was like a horror junkie, and he started exposing me to all, like, I've watched so many horror movies. Like, I remember one of the first ones I ever saw was Texas Chainsaw.
Ew, I would never watch that type of thing.
That one blew my mind.
So
but anyways, back to Amityville. So yeah, I watched the Amityville horror, the original one. I've watched the remakes. The original one I think is still the better one in my opinion. But Amityville is actually a town 30 miles outside of New York City, and it's nestled in the Long Island area. And there's the house there that is extremely famous, also known as the Amityville house. And when you look at the house, I mean, it looks like just a normal ass New England style house, right? It's Dutch architecture, hence the windows. And yeah, it's just backs up to like a creek river thing with a boathouse behind it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it looks like a pretty normal house.
Yeah.
So these murders that occur at the Amityville house had to do with a family named the DeFeos. So the DeFeo family consisted of Ronald Joseph DeFeo Sr., who was the dad, and he was born on November 16th, 1930. And then his wife was Louise Brigante, who was born on November 3rd, 1931. So a little backstory on those two, because I think it's important to understand the whole family dynamic here. So after actually he went by a nickname called Big Ronnie, because in this story, there's Ronald DeFeo Sr. and Ronald DeFeo Jr., and it gets kind of confusing if I refer to them as by their real name. So we'll go by their nickname. So Big Ronnie is dad. And then as I'll talk about in a minute, Butch is Ronald.
Little Ronnie.
DeFeo. Yeah, there you go. Or just little Big Ronnie, little Ronnie. So Big Ronnie and Louise got married. And from the very beginning, Louise's parents always disapproved of Big Ronnie. And after they got married, they had their son, Ronald Joseph DeFeo Jr., or Butch, on September 26, 1951. Now, Butch is the main person in this story. So Butch, growing up, had it hard. He was the firstborn and a boy, and his father expected more from him. And Big Ronnie was not afraid to discipline Butch in the cruelest fashion, literally from a young age abused. Mm-hmm. Really sad, honestly.
Like many killers.
Exactly. One minute he would hug his son, the next minute he'd throw him across the room. Luis's brother, Michael Brigante Jr., would later testify at the trial about an incident he witnessed when Butch was just 2 years old. He said, "We were all sitting down in the basement watching TV, and I don't know, the boy had done something, and all of a sudden he stood up, Big Ronnie, the dad, and just pushed the boy into the wall, and the boy banged his head or part of his shoulder on something."
God.
At 2 years old. For all we know, I mean, he could have gave Butch like brain damage, dude. Like,
yeah, he could have
honestly,
some type of brain injury.
It'd be interesting. Like, that's one thing we've talked about too, is like being able to
TBI.
look inside the mind of these killers and things like that, and see if they have actual brain damage.
Some of them do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So as a child, Butch was extremely overweight and would remain so until his later teenage years when he began using amphetamines. So drugs were a big part of his life. From a young age, he was experimenting with drugs, and he was bullied a lot. He was made fun of because he was a bigger kid. People would call him the Blob, Bucky Beaver, and Pork Chop.
God. Kids are so fucking mean.
They are. Bullying is just so terrible on a child. Like, it just fucks you up.
Yeah, it really
does. No matter
does.
who you are, it has an impact on you.
Yeah, it really does.
And it can take you one or two ways.
To you at that age. It's like,
well, it's your whole world, right? Is school and your friends. So
yeah,
if that part is fucked up, then yeah, it's extremely hard. So Butch wasn't the only child for long. On June 29, 1956, Louise gave birth to a daughter, Dawn Teresa DeFeo. And then a few years later, on August 16, 1961, Louise gave birth to Allison Louise DeFeo. And then again on September 4th, 1962, to Mark DeFeo. Getting busy. So one of the things, and part of the reason why I think they had so many kids too, is so growing up, they had that abusive childhood. But as they went on, and when they moved to this house, especially, they became Catholic.
Yes.
They got religious.
Right.
And a lot of Catholic families are big.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Because a lot of them don't believe in birth control.
Right. So could be one of the reasons why the family got as big as it did.
So how many members did they had? 5?
Mm-hmm.
5. Okay.
So after the birth of Mark, Louise decided to leave her husband for reasons that remain unclear. And in order to get his wife back, Big Ronnie decided to put his writing talents to good use. And needing to express his love for his wife, Big Ronnie co-wrote a song called The Real Thing. In 1963, Joe Williams, the jazz great, recorded the song for his album titled One is a Lonesome Number. That's actually kind of a cool fact.
Interesting.
But yeah, I guess that won her back.
So, she came back? So he was probably abusive to her. Like, he's an abusive dude.
Yeah.
I mean, even in this picture of him, look at him pouring the liquor. I bet he was a drinker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure he wasn't nice to her. That's probably the reason why she left. A lot of women will come back to some sappy,
it's like kind of like
shit like
Jack
that.
from This Is Us's childhood.
Yeah.
You know, his dad's a drunk and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So then on October 24th, 1965, Big Ronnie was blessed with a third son, John Matthew DeFeo. And by this time, the family had moved from their Brooklyn apartment to the affluent Long Island South Shore community of Amityville. And for many, it was a mystery how Big Ronnie could afford such a lavish home on a car dealer's service manager's salary.
Yeah, how did he do that? That's really interesting, and she didn't work at all.
Well, what we find out is he was a part of like a large criminal syndicate. His car dealership was. So who knows what other like illegal shit was going on there.
Yeah.
But he obviously was making good money somehow. Mm-hmm. And in the early 1970s, Big Ronnie decided he wanted a series of life-size portraits created to immortalize his family.
So weird.
Isn't that weird? That when people do that?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to a house and somebody has just like a giant like picture of themselves on the wall?
Not of themselves, but I know people do it.
Or
I just saw, who did I saw? I saw Trisha Paytas's house in one of Chris Clemens' videos, and she had pictures of herself all over the whole house. Some people are into that.
Which, I mean, whatever, if you want to do that.
Whatever floats your boat.
Cool. Yeah.
I would feel really weird I would be like, really, I'd just want to hide them. I'd want to like throw blankets on it. Never see them again. Be weird. Wouldn't it be weird to have a giant picture of yourself? It would just bother me every time I'd walk by it. I'd be like, ugh,
I don't want to see I don't want to see that.
I'm so cringe.
I already got to look at myself in the mirror, all right? I don't want to look at myself on my wall too. What the hell? But one of the other reasons that Ronnie had some money is because of his father-in-law, actually.
Right.
Luis's mother.
Mm-hmm.
They had money as well. And he actually paid for these portraits for them.
Interesting.
$50,000.
That's so
estimated
insane.
To be at least $50,000.
$50,000 for the portraits?
Yeah. For life-size portraits, which they hung in huge golden frames on the staircase wall in between the first and second floors of their home.
That is so strange to want to do that. To spend 50 fucking G's on family portraits.
Right?
That's so were they painted? They must have been hand painted.
For $50,000,
they
yeah.
Better
it's not
fucking have been.
It's not like a little shitty like camera picture, like with film.
No, it better have been a painting.
It was life-size portrait. I'm assuming paintings. Yeah.
That's just so weird. That's like what they did in the way olden days. Like, why do you need to do that now? They must feel dumb that they spent,
Speaking of people paint on the walls, my grandpa has a ridiculously insane picture of Napoleon on his wall.
Of Napoleon?
Yeah, it's literally like wall
painted?
to ceiling, dude. It's huge.
Ew, why does
it's
he
like
have Napoleon? He's such a shit person.
No.
Your grandpa's so weird.
He's funny, man. Yeah, he would have Napoleon on the wall.
He fucking would.
Right?
Doesn't surprise me,
I just thought that was funny. So let's go ahead and get into the day that this literal massacre goes down. It's just wild what happens here. So in the early evening hours of November 13th, 1974, the patrons of Henry's Bar, a tavern located at the corner of Merrick Road and Ocean Avenue. Ocean Avenue. Oh, don't want to get copyright. Sorry, yellow card. Anybody else like that song, by the way?
I love that song.
Oh, good song. Which that's what Amityville's off Ocean Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So at this tavern, they're sipping beers, cocktails. Everything is seemingly just a typical evening at this local bar, calm and uneventful, as they said. But by the night's end, this shit gets flipped upside down because of what happens next. At 6:30 p.m., Ronald DeFeo Jr., known by the locals as Butch, opened the door to the bar and yelled, "You got to help me. I think my mother and father are shot." One of the patrons seated at the bar was Robert, or Bobby, an out-of-work brick mason and Butch's best friend. Bobby raced to his friend who had fallen to his knees, crying hysterically. Butch again pleaded for help. "Bobby, you got to help me. Somebody shot my mother and father. Are you sure they're not asleep?" "No, I saw them up there. Come on, let's go." So literally, Butch is like, he comes in, he's frantic. He's like, "Guys, we got to go." Gets his 6 friends to go with him. John, Joey, Al, William, gets like the bar owner, and they all pile into Butch's blue Buick Electra. And they drive down to his house, which his house was literally only a block away. So he goes over there, gets his friends, drive a block away, and they're driving extremely fast. People are yelling at him to slow down. And eventually, a few seconds later, they arrive at 112 Ocean Avenue. And again, this residence is pretty big. It's a 3-story colonial home built in 1925.
Damn.
The property is
old.
Yeah, it's extremely old. And it's a really big property. But like I mentioned earlier, one of the most distinguishable parts of the house is the dramatic looking windows on the front, which kind of look like eyes. And actually in the movie, there's always like flashes of light or lightning or like stuff going on inside the house through the front windows, because it looks like eyes are like kind of like blinking. But anyway, they pull up in their car, they hop out, they climb the porch, and his friend Bobby's like yelling at him, like, "Be careful, Butch, like you don't know who's in there, right? Because if somebody's been shot, like why would you come rushing into the house and immediately start like running upstairs if you think somebody came in there and killed him, right?"
Yeah, you would be more cautious for sure.
Mm-hmm. And he's not doing that. He's like running right in there, and the house was quiet, except for their dog Shaggy, who was barking, but he was tied up inside of the kitchen's back door. So the interior of the DeVeo home was just as impressive as the exterior. To the right of the marble-covered foyer was the formal dining room with red velvet textured wallpaper lining the walls, and in the center of the room, over the Dutch-style table seating 6, hung a crystal chandelier. Just a beautiful house inside, which is interesting because for a car salesman, like he not only got this big house, but the inside's like lit. It's like furnished to like.
Yeah, he was feeling fancy for sure. This $50,000 portraits too.
It's fancy in there.
Yeah, regal.
Regal. That's the right word for it. They even had a baby grand piano.
Oh, very regal.
A large fireplace with a pair of satin cushioned chairs, lavish paintings and statues were scattered throughout the room. They literally got the most expensive items for their house. Which again, we're like, how did they get all that money? Must have been up to. So with Bobby in the lead, the 5 men hurried up the stairs to the second floor. Bobby was a regular visitor to the DeFeo household and knew exactly where the master bedroom was located. As they reached the second floor, they were overwhelmed with the stench of death. Bobby stopped at the doorway to the master bedroom and hit the light switch. Before him lay DeFeo Sr.'s bare back, was the first indication the couple was not, or a hole in the center of his back was the first indication the couple was not sleeping. And there was obviously blood trickling out of the wound still. So yeah, there is photos of it. I'm not going to put it in there, but I'll link it for you guys. So you guys, if you want to go see what the crime scene photos look like, they're pretty graphic. But in contrast to Big Ronnie, Luis DeFeo's wounds were not clearly noticeable because her body was buried beneath an orange blanket as if she was protecting herself against the evening chill.
Wow.
In bed.
Just sitting there having no idea. Or sleeping, probably sleeping.
Right. Seeing that Bobby was ready to pass out, the other men led him downstairs past the life-size portraits of the family. John remained on the second floor and checked out the northeast bedroom, which was one of the boys' rooms. And there was toys and obviously all the normal stuff in their rooms. And there was also several statues and figurines that were, you commonly find inside of a Catholic home. A lot of times you'll see like Jesus or, saints or Mary or, just different things like that.
Your grandparents have a ton of that.
Crosses on the wall and stuff like that. Yeah. And on opposite sides of this room lay the bodies of 2 young boys face down like their parents. In the bed on the left lay the body of John DeFeo, who was 9 years old at the time.
Only 9. It's crazy.
Yeah. And when John looked at him, he couldn't pinpoint the bullet hole in the boy's back since his sweatshirt was completely soaked in blood.
Damn.
And in the other bed lay his brother, Mark DeFeo, who was 12 years old at the time.
That's so young.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal.
One single bullet hole in the center of his back, just like his brother.
Wow.
So obviously walking into that is like, holy shit, that's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And
really
so
dark.
Yeah, just, I mean, I can't even imagine walking into a scene like that. Like,
I know. It would feel really strange being around two young children's bodies like that.
just, I mean, to be in the presence of anybody that's passed is always just bizarre.
But especially murdered.
But
like, we've been in, you know, with someone who's passed, but we've never been around someone who's been murdered.
Right, now,
like, that's a whole different feeling. I feel like, you know, I mean, not that I would know, but if any of you have ever been around someone who's been recently murdered, let us know. I'm sure some of you for your job or something have had to do it. It's probably crazy feeling.
I'm sure there's a cop or somebody out there that has definitely experienced that. And I'm sure it's very weird and honestly.
Any blood spatter analysis people out here? Any Dexters?
Well, we don't want a Dexter, but a blood spatter analysis, sure.
That'd be interesting. I've always wanted someone like that
or
to
a
come on
forensic
the
person.
Yes. Wouldn't that be interesting guest?
Yeah. Those are all
hear?
great guests.
Yeah, for sure.
So back to the story. John is, after just walking to the scene, runs back downstairs to rejoin the others and is like, dude, we gotta call 911. Like this is really bad. So their friend Joe called 911, giving details to an emergency dispatcher. And when the police arrived, Butch was immediately taken to the local police station for his own protection, actually, because he basically suggested to police officers at the scene that the killings had been carried out by a mob hitman named Louis Fellini.
Mm-hmm. So they started thinking maybe it was like someone going after the whole family, so he had to be protected.
Well, if you're a police officer and you roll into that scene, they were all killed with precision and just like all the same way, execution style. So
seemed kind of mobbish,
right? Totally.
Plus, this family, like, look at their house; they kind of look like a mob family.
Yeah, exactly.
With these giant pictures, and I mean, it sounds from what you're saying,
very true. It must have been a very believable experience or scene, and just as far as Butch's demeanor and everything, they must have bought that story,
right?
Because like they couldn't have been that dumb that they wouldn't have suspected him immediately if they didn't really feel convinced that it was some type of mob murder or murder for hire, something like that. So after Butch is taken to the station, he's given an interview, and when he starts, going over his story, that's when the police notice major inconsistencies of his retelling of events. And so the following day, he actually confesses after police grill him for a while. And some people, and, he kind of came out in his defense, like he was coerced into giving a confession. Like they grilled him hard. Because I think they, after looking into it a little bit and figuring out that this Lewis guy, the mob guy, had an alibi. Right. He had an alibi. So as soon as you find out somebody's got like a legitimate verified alibi,
then they're off.
Right. So they grilled him, and Butch ended up giving a confession and said, he carried out the killings himself
on his own fucking family. Brutal killings too.
And what he actually said, quote unquote, to detectives was, once I started, I just couldn't stop. It went so fast.
Honestly, I bet it did. Like, can you imagine being in, I mean, obviously we would never in a state of rage kill our whole family, but everyone's experienced like rage or anger where you may say something really mean to someone, or you do things that you like can't control your own brain when you're really, really angry or heated, or, so I can see how it would all, like, you do one and then you just do the other and it just spiral out of control and happen really fast. And you'd almost be like, holy shit, what did I just do? I mean, not that it excuses it by any means. And obviously a normal person can stop themselves from ever getting to that point. But
I know I
bet he really meant it, that it happened really fast. And I'm sure it did.
Yeah. I think in any type of situation like that, where your adrenaline is just like through the roof,
and then he's sitting there like, how long are you going to be able to hide that? I mean, it's traumatic to go through shooting your whole family. Like, how long is he going to be able to keep up the act that he didn't do this?
Right, exactly. I mean, how cold and heartless can you possibly be? Like,
which he was pretty fucking cold and heartless
soulless,
and
yeah.
angry. And I'm sure it started with anger towards his dad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he had anger at all of them, obviously, but it must stem back to the abusive relationship he had with his dad.
Absolutely. I think
and
that
then
a
he
huge
just
part.
kind of punished everyone else. Maybe he was mad at his mom for not standing up for him enough or coming back to him. Maybe she finally left him, you know, and then came back just because he wrote this song. Plenty of reasons to be angry with your whole family.
Absolutely.
So
A
sounds
lot
like
of
they had
valid-
a really
yeah.
toxic life living all together.
So like the other side of this is, you know, sort of the argument that gets brought up is, could there have been a paranormal aspect to him?
Could he have been taken
getting
over?
to this point, like in the movie, being possessed into doing these things, or some type of energy in the house that literally changes a normal person into a savage psycho killer? You know, is there something like that at play?
Yeah.
But when you start looking at that, you're like, what evidence for that is there?
Yeah.
And there isn't any. I mean, because like you just said, there's tons of valid reasons why he
would do this. Yeah.
He
and
would
he
do
seemed
this.
to have just no remorse. Like it says right here, right afterwards, he took a bath right away. Took a bath. I can't imagine like chilling in a bath after doing that. And then he redressed.
changed his
and then-
clothes and got rid of the murder weapon.
Wow.
Which was a 35 Marlin rifle. And he actually hid it out in, I believe, like the boathouse area. So it wasn't even like he tried that hard to hide everything. And then he told him where his bloody clothes were and stuff.
Huh.
And so they had a full confession. And at around 3:15 a.m. on November 13th, Bush DeFeo woke up. And for reasons that may be forever unclear, he did those deeds. And then
What time?
3:15 a.m. is when it took
He
place.
just randomly woke up and did it.
That's what he says, yeah.
So that's really crazy to think about, because that sounds even more like a haunting or some type of like possession, to just wake up and then kill your whole family. That seems kind of odd. Like normally there'd be an altercation or
That's like the story though. And then after, I don't know.
Wow.
What causes somebody to do that.
Yeah.
But then again, like we have to remember this guy was doing tons of drugs. Like he was like either drunk or doing some type of drugs.
But
he was
it's
on
still
heroin too.
Weird to go to sleep and then wake up and then want to kill everyone.
That's true. But do you believe that? You believe he
Nah,
just
probably
woke up?
not. I don't really know. I mean, he changed the story a
For all
lot.
we know, he could have been like fucked up and woke up
We
or whatever.
really don't know. That's the thing about this case, is at the end of the day, no one knows exactly what happened in that house that night. And it's just we're never going to know what really happened.
Well, we do know because the person that did it said they did it.
Yeah, but we don't know
if he's
exactly who's
lying or-
involved.
right.
They may have
Totally.
been 2 or even 3 people involved. We don't know what time it happened, or if there was an altercation beforehand, if the people were forced to lay down, or if they were just sleeping in their beds. We don't know all that.
We don't know for sure. We know based upon what Butch says, which he gives
Which
another confession
he's
later.
not a reliable person though
Right.
to count
No,
on.
absolutely.
So we
Absolutely.
really don't know.
Absolutely. Because he does change his story till like current day. Like he
Yeah.
changes it constantly.
Yep.
So we really don't know the real story
It's
here.
almost a game for him to just change
Right.
it. Mm-hmm.
So when he gave his original confession, he was charged, and then his trial actually began on October 14th, 1975. Him and his defense lawyer named William Weber mounted an affirmative defense of insanity, with Butch claiming that he killed his family in self-defense because he heard their voices plotting against him. That was another thing too, is he did report like hearing voices.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And the insanity plea was actually supported by the psychiatrist for the defense, Dr. Daniel Schwartz. However, the psychiatrist for the prosecution, Dr. Harold Zolan, maintained that although Butch was an abuser of heroin and somehow an abuser of LSD, he had antisocial personality disorder and was aware of his actions at the time of the crime. So the defense found him insane, and the other one said he was kind of insane and fucked up, but knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And just on drugs.
Yeah. How convenient. Each side has their own psychologist to say whatever.
Yeah, that's true. And how different they come out too.
Yeah.
Just shows you like I think it's
I
all
know.
like what you perceive. You know, it's all one person's
a lot of the times it comes down to
point of
someone's
view.
professional opinion, which can vary from person to person, which is really interesting.
Yeah. It's I don't know, it's kind of wild, honestly. And after a lengthy trial, which concluded right before Thanksgiving, Butch DeFeo was found guilty of 6 second-degree murder counts for killing his mother, father, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters. God.
That's wild.
And then shortly thereafter, on December 4th, 1975, Judge Thomas Stark sentenced Butch to 6 concurrent sentences of 25 years to life. Basically, no chance of getting released.
They came down on him hard.
Yeah. Which,
I mean, he killed 4 people. So, or
as far as we know, he committed 6 murders.
Yeah.
So no other suspect was prosecuted ever for the crime. And officially, he is what we believe to be the person that committed these crimes to this day. Although the actual evidence itself points to a conspiracy. So more than one person conspiring to kill, actually. The court had determined that DeFeo had acted alone, killing all 6 members of his family with a 35 gauge Marlin rifle. However, Butch had supposedly shot each victim as they slept, and both prosecution and defense agreed he had not used a silencer. What's crazy about this is, how does one person do this alone without waking up his family? Because you can't obviously shoot everybody all at once in different rooms.
Yeah.
So if it's one person, how do you do that?
Right. That's what I was thinking about. It's so strange that they weren't all in the same room.
Yeah.
Because how would you have kept them all?
And
I guess you would probably kill the parents first, because they would be the hardest ones to do. Unless it seems like the mom was like just sleeping.
Well, everybody was sleeping.
Well, all of them, because some of them could have woken up if they heard gunshots. So maybe the mom was sleeping. Maybe the dad, they said that the dad probably fought back because he had 2 bullet holes.
Yeah.
So they think that maybe he tried to get up after the first one.
Try to attack whoever's attacking him.
Yeah, do something like that. But maybe the kids were forced to, I could see it'd be easier with a kid to just say, lay down and shoot them on spot.
Yeah, it is true.
Super sad, but.
Especially if it's your own fucking brother.
Yeah, and they're terrified and their parents just died. What
they
are
probably
they
don't
going to
even
do?
know that because they didn't leave their room. They don't know who's
they don't really even know. They could have just been told to lay down, don't even know. So terrible. Just why kill the kids?
It's seriously such a nightmare.
It really is.
And so the defense experts actually conducted an experiment on this particular rifle that was used, the Marlin rifle, and found that it was so loud that it could be heard almost a mile away. That's fucking loud, dude.
That is.
I mean, that's a pretty big caliber, or not really big, but.
So then the others definitely heard it.
It's a loud gun, yeah. So yeah. I mean, it's surprising that the neighbors didn't even hear it though and stuff.
Yeah, that is surprising.
How did the neighbor? And I mean, they're not super close. It's not like, our neighborhoods these days where everybody's on top of each other, but they had pretty big lots. So I guess maybe, and if they'd sleep deeply, then maybe they didn't hear it. But I mean, at least the kids or whoever was shot, later probably heard the others.
Yeah.
Or woke up to hearing it or something. Unless there was more than one person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, there's the only way that you do an execution style just like that, unless you did it the way that you just explained, is if there's more than one person. And according to the autopsy and ballistic reports, each victim was shot as they were found face down in their beds. It seemed none of them had been awoken by the shots. Interesting. And none had put any kind of struggle or tried to hide or flee the scene, according to the autopsy. But then Ken Greguski, the former Amityville police chief, was one of the first law enforcement professionals at the scene. And to this day, he finds it extremely hard to believe that Butch could have committed the shootings without any members of his family waking up. The own police chief thinks that's crazy. Why someone wasn't able to get out of the house is beyond belief. And then later on, Herman Race, a former New York City supervising police detective, was hired by Michael Brigante Sr. to investigate the murders. Michael Brigante had testified at trial that he did not feel that his grandson acted alone in the commission of the crime. Since Brigante did not feel that his grandson had done all this of what he was accused of, and he wanted Race, a licensed investigator and friend, to either prove or disprove the case. So this guy, Herman Race, eventually uncovered evidence that showed that there were multiple gunmen and at least 2 guns used during the commission of the crime. During a private court hearing and at a trial, his findings were corroborated by the prosecutor and the medical examiner, who was astonished that one man sat accused of being the sole gunman. Because how the hell do you do it, especially if you have multiple guns? So they literally proved that there was somebody else. They just have never figured out who else it could have been.
How can they know that for sure? It doesn't seem that hard to me that it could have been him. Why couldn't he have done this?
There's a possibility he could have. I mean, there's a possibility absolutely that he may have. I don't think it rules it out completely, even though that's what they're saying.
Right.
Because we don't know. We just don't know.
Yeah.
For all we know, he could have used 2 different guns, and maybe one gun was quieter than the other, and then he could boom the first room and then use the other one on his parents or something,
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be kind of hard, but like I said, if he attacked the parents while they were not expecting it when they were sleeping, because I feel like they would be the hardest, because they would try to protect the rest of the family and protect the kids and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, and still the official story is that he acted alone and did this. So that's what's so weird. There is some like controversy around this. I'll just put it out there. Like when you research this, you get a biased view of it. Like, and a lot of this research was taken from an author that wrote about this and did a ton of research. Is very credible. Has probably done the most work on this case out of anybody that's out there. And this is the conclusion that he came to. And he actually knows that in November in 2000. The author of The Night That DeFeos Died, Rick Osuna, actually met with Butch, and Butch confessed that along with his sister, Dawn DeFeo, him and one of his friends actually committed the murders out of desperation. And this fact was later confirmed by a letter written by Butch DeFeo. And in his own writing, Butch wrote, quote unquote, "It was cold-blooded murder, period. No ghosts, no demons, just 3 people in which I was one," in a letter that he wrote.
Well, why won't he say who else did it? What would be the point of protecting someone else? Because it would lessen your own sentence possibly, or possibly help in your own case. Like, it seems very convenient to just be like, oh, someone else, but I don't know. I'm not going to tell you who it was.
Well, I think we do know. I just don't know the name. They do have somebody there's 2 people that it could be. There's one person. I read the same guy wrote that there's one person that may still be alive, or they might both be dead. I can't remember. But there is 2 people that kind of been unnamed. I couldn't find their names. That could be
so they
the
think
third person.
That 2 to 3 people could have gone into the house, all stood over these people at the same time and just shot them all at once.
Somehow, yeah. And maybe we haven't found the other guns.
Why would they want to time it all out like that and stuff? So they were like, okay, 1, 2, 3, and they all shot them?
Seems kind of unbelievable.
I don't know. That seems super
weird. But then
weird.
again, it's weird. How does one take that one rifle, go from a couple different rooms, all without waking anybody up and doing all that,
I guess. I mean, or the kids were just so scared they didn't run or do anything. They're kids.
Mm-hmm. True.
They could have listened.
Yeah. Could just been like, lie down on your face or something.
Yep.
God. It's terrifying.
I mean, I don't think it's impossible that that Butch just did all of them. That's what it kind of seems like. But I mean, I'm certainly not an expert. Sounds like the experts think there was more than one, but I definitely think there is a possibility that.
But Butch has changed his story.
Yeah.
And here's what he officially. So at this time later on, this is what he actually said happened that night of November 12th, 1974. He said, according to Butch, his father was routinely abusing the family. And after that night, there had been some sort of like blow up that happened. Butch and his 18-year-old sister Dawn and 2 of Butch's friends proceeded to get high in the basement.
Hi.
And enraged that her father was preventing her from joining her boyfriend in Florida and worn out from the years of physical abuse, Dawn DeFeo approached her older brother about killing their parents, which Butch initially refused. So again, take this with a grain of salt. It's coming from Butch here.
Yeah, right.
Of course, he would love to deflect to his sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he goes
dead conveniently.
Right.
Can't defend herself.
That he fucking killed too. Anyways, he said after a culmination of drugs, alcohol, and desperation over the next few hours, Butch finally gave in to Dawn's evil request. Employing his two friends, Butch and Dawn left the safety of the family's basement and headed for their parents' bedroom on the second floor. So they hit that first, which at the time was around 1 a.m. on November 13th, 1974. When one friend waited his lookout, the other with his Colt Python followed Butch, who had the .35 Marlin rifle. So basically, friend was with him as well. And when he walked into his father's room, there was a candle burning on his dresser, and the second floor bathroom light was on. And a military-style flashlight was later recovered by the police on the brown recliner in the hallway outside of the master bedroom, which was their only light source. The parents were attacked while they lay in bed. Butch said that Mr. DeVale, however, was able to struggle to his feet to attempt to counteract on his assassin, which happened to be his son. And then his second bullet struck him dead before he was able to reach his target. Louise DeVale lay in bed moaning for help as she slowly bled to death, and a second bullet was put into her as well.
Ugh, terrible.
And although the original plan, he said, was called for the younger children to be taken to their grandparents' house in Brooklyn, Dawn, according to Butch, then killed them to eliminate the children as witnesses and potential threats. I don't know about that. Why would she, if she was so angry about her parents, you think she would go just like kill her brother and sister? Dawn, the sister?
Yeah, that has nothing. I feel like that makes no sense. That's, yeah. I mean, what was the deal with Dawn? Did she have any like?
Yeah, she was like
history?
all fucked up too.
Oh, she was.
Yeah, they're all fucked up.
Their whole family. So I mean, maybe.
Pissed. Yeah, they're all pissed.
Maybe. I mean, some families are that brutal.
And theirs was really bad.
Yeah.
And drugs and everything else. Like it was like, I'm sure it was a crazy.
But how did she end up dead then?
Well, he gets to that. Yeah, he's got an answer for everything.
Yeah.
So according to Butch, while his sister is literally butchering their
siblings,
family, yeah. He claims he was not in the house at the time of the children's murders, but giving pursuit to one of his friends who had actually ran off away from the house. And because he was trying to get him to come back and assist with the cleanup, he said. But even at, his trial, he even claimed he never admitted shooting the children. Like he never has come clean that he shot them. He's like, I don't know. I didn't kill them. So if you think about the young boys, you can only imagine like having your sister walking in to the room with the rifle and like ordering them to put their faces down.
Yeah.
And then shooting them both in the back once. Just executing them.
If she did it.
If she did it, right. Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's hard because, I mean, she's not here to defend herself at all.
And this recollection that Butch is giving is just very weird and almost seems made up in a sense, because he gives immense detail about how Dawn went into the next room, which is Allison's, and then raised a rifle and shooting her, essentially. God, it's terrifying to think about waking up and having that happen to you.
Yeah, that really is.
That's I just
really
literally
sad.
had a flash in my head where I just pictured that for 1 second, and
it'd be terrifying.
I'd stop me in my tracks. I'm like, God.
Yeah. Scary to put yourself into the situation of victims. Sometimes it's like really
so
mind blowing
scary.
what people go through.
Yeah, I almost feel bad like watching this on TV and stuff when this happens to fucking real people.
Yeah.
And like, I don't get hurt by it.
Yeah, I know.
It's like painless for me, but yet
I know that's why these movies bother me. Like I don't
having like a moment right now.
Amityville, the movie. It scares me because it's like this is a really scary, tragic event, horrible thing that happened.
So yeah, I almost feel like it's
I don't like fictionalize things
fuck
like this.
to like make a movie out of it and like sensationalize it, even make it scarier and like make
That's
it.
why I didn't want to watch it. Yeah.
Having a whole fucking like horror revolution right now.
I know, it's terrible.
So yeah, I mean, Butch just basically goes on to talk about how he confronts Dawn in the third floor bedroom and then briefly wrestles for the gun. Butch got the upper hand and then slammed Dawn against the bed, knocking her out, he said. And as she lay unconscious on her bed, Butch placed the back of the rifle to her head and fired. And he ended the murder spree that was happening because of her. But then he realized like, oh shit, we got all this shit to clean up. That's his story of events, is that essentially he blamed the entire thing on his sister. even though the evidence supports his direct involvement, like it's pretty obvious he was involved, but this was like his latest version of events. Again, like it changes all the time.
Yeah.
And now he's blaming it completely on his sister, saying it was all her.
So more and more of it became her fault. So let me ask, how does it end up that she's dead if
right,
you know, she's the one who did everything? That's like very convenient to blame everything on her when she's not there to say anything.
Yeah, and either way, it's still like conspiracy to commit murder. Like you still know what was going on. You could have stopped it earlier. Like it doesn't help your innocence. And honestly, it just shows he's making up shit. You know, he's trying to justify what happened. And, you know, I don't know. I think, could she have been involved? Absolutely. But do I think that she did the entire thing and he just, you know, got fed up and killed her? No. I don't know. It's so confusing. Like there's so many just different versions of events that come out of this. So the author of this book that we were talking about, Rick Osuna, actually contacted one of the accomplices. So the people we were talking about, like who is the friends, you know, that he talks about. And apparently Butch actually named them at some point, but they had entered into a witness protection program for something else unrelated to the Amityville, actually. And then the other accomplice named by Butch died on January 1st, 2001. And they've always refused interviews. So who knows if they're even involved, or maybe they knew about it. Maybe there's like somehow a connection there to the murders. But I don't know. The one thing that really kind of seals, I don't know. Let me know if you think this really like connects her to the murder. So upon post-mortem examination of Dawn, they discovered that she had unburned powder burns on her nightgown.
Unburned powder?
So like gun residue type thing.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Burn. So like it had to been like really close.
So she probably was holding the gun.
It seems that that's what it proves. Yeah.
Wow.
Which would make sense how they could pull it off so quickly.
Yeah.
But but I still don't understand the reason why he would kill her or vice versa.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is like, if she was involved, like why, how did she end up dead?
Yeah. And again, like this could also be just natural residue or burns.
And she was
that
found
happen.
in her bed the same way, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay. So like, let's go through this. Would he have been like, okay, now that we've killed or now that you have killed everyone here by laying them down, now you go lay in your bed and I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like, why would she do that? There's multiple guns in the house. Why wouldn't she fight back? It would have been a gunfight. You probably would have found her on the ground with a gun in her hand.
Yeah.
Or a gun near her or something.
Yeah, the scene wouldn't have been what it was. I don't think if that was the case.
It really seems like he did it all, but I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of different opinions about what could have happened.
He's like talked a bunch, but like, how do you verify what really happened at this point? Because I mean, he could come out and be like, "This is the truth," and it's version 85, and we're like, "Dude, we don't believe you anymore." Like, So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mystery in a sense. Like, was it just him, or was there more to the story here? But at the end of the day, the official story is that he committed all 6 murders, and yeah, he's in life in prison for it. And now this is where the story kind of turns paranormal and the haunting begins. But before we do that, we'll thank our last sponsors for today. We'll be right back. As most of us have found out the hard way, including myself, getting into debt is easy, but getting out is hard, especially if your FICO score isn't great. Sky-high interest rates can make it incredibly hard for you to break out of that revolving debt cycle. Thankfully, now there's Upstart.com, the revolutionary lending platform that offers smarter interest rates to help you pay off high-interest credit card debt, which I know for me personally, if I had known about Upstart a few years ago when I was still digging myself out of credit card debt, I would have most definitely went and gotten an Upstart loan because of that smarter interest rate. Because if you don't have great credit, then you get slammed with very high interest rates, which may even put you into debt more than you already are. What's great about Upstart is they go beyond your traditional FICO score or credit score when assessing your actual credit worthiness. They actually reward you based on your education and job history in the form of a smarter interest rate, which is great. So they don't ding you on the credit part of the application. Upstart believes you're more than just a credit score. They make it fast, simple, and easy to check your rate in just a few minutes without affecting your credit score. The best part is that once the loan is approved, most people get their funds the very next business day, the next day, which is great. Over 200,000 people have used Upstart to pay off credit cards, student loans, fund their wedding, or to make a large purchase. Free yourself from the burden of high-interest credit card debt by consolidating everything into one monthly payment with Upstart. See why Upstart is ranked number 1 in their category with over 300 businesses on Trustpilot, and hurry to upstart.com/milehigher to find out how low your Upstart rate is. Checking your rate only takes a few minutes and it won't affect your credit, which is the best part. That's upstart.com/milehigher.
So one thing that I truly love in life is subscription boxes. For some reason, it's like, it feels like Christmas because you're getting this surprise gift in the mail. And it comes, and sometimes you don't even remember that it's coming. So it's like a nice surprise. So one of my favorite subscription boxes is FabFitFun. This is actually a seasonal box if you've never seen it before. So it comes 4 times a year and it's filled with full-size beauty, fitness, and lifestyle products. They have a bunch of really high-quality brands such as Tarte, Kate Somerville, Anthropologie, Free People, Dr. Brandt, and that's just the beginning of it. So even in this box right here, we have the new Tarte Skincare Drink of H2O. So I'm really excited to try that. This is cruelty-free, which is awesome. This box came with a lot of skincare stuff, which is great. I'm trying to redo a bunch of my skincare because I'm going completely cruelty-free. So these products are going to be awesome. It also has like a foot cream, everything that I would need for summer. And then it also has this really cute little dish in here and a towel, a beach towel. So you never really know what you're going to get in it. But I always love and use everything in my FabFitFun boxes. They're really fun to get. It retails for $49.99, but it is valued at over $200. So check it out at www.fabfitfun.com and use the code MILEHIGHER so you can save $10 on your first box, making it only $39.99. Again, that's fabfitfun.com and use the code MILEHIGHER because you deserve to treat yourself.
All right, so the haunting begins when the Lutz family purchases this house on December 18, 1975. And again, the Amityville house is 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and they got it for a reduced price. But what's crazy is that they bought this house only 13 months after the murders happened in it. So like a little over a year happened.
So they didn't put the house on the market until probably close to December of 75.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, it sat there and they got a discount on it.
Interesting.
They saved money.
Yeah,
and I mean, obviously, because
word had gotten around of what had happened in there. Like,
well,
I mean,
who
it's
wants
not
to
just
buy
one
that?
person that died in there. It's the whole family murdered. Like, it's a pretty intense energy in that house.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, Josh and I really wanted to do a paranormal episode, and we really want to talk more about the paranormal and ghosts. But we also, neither of us have had a really like intense paranormal experience. I've had one, but ish. Nothing more that I could talk about. And we really want to get like some experts on to talk about this kind of thing. But we have been researching a ton about the paranormal and ghosts and how they, if someone dies, especially if they're murdered in a place, they can hang on, their energy can like hang on to that space and kind of rule it and haunt it.
Right, exactly.
Which I think is very real and very scary. We really want to get some experts on to help explain this kind of stuff because we really don't know how to. But
no, I mean, but does anybody know how to explain paranormal shit?
Right, but
like,
there's people that dedicated
who
their
haven't
lives
had
to
experiences
it.
and can really like explain it.
Yeah, I don't want to give misinformation.
No, totally. I mean, this is something I'm glad you're at least interested in, like the spiritual aspect to it, the spiritual realm. I know you're not a fan of like brutal murder and stuff like that, and I totally understand.
I'm a fan of brutal murder. I'm a big fan of brutal murders, guys.
Sorry, I said that really wrong. That came out just way wrong, man.
I'm not a fan of horror movies and horror and scary things like that, but I do believe in ghosts, although I don't like to fuck with them. Like, I would never go explore a haunted house. I would never go into this fucking house. You wouldn't want to
go try and communicate with it?
No. I get like sick. Like, if I even feel like anything in a space, I feel like I can feel that type of stuff. It makes me sick. I really don't even like going around graveyards and cemeteries because I feel like uncomfortable.
Interesting.
I really feel like you should respect the dead. I don't want them to be mad at me. I don't want them to hang on to me in any way. Like, this kind of stuff really freaks me out, but I do believe in it.
Yeah. So you think that in this Amityville house, after the 6 of them, were murdered in it, like, imagine Like you
it
said,
could be haunted, but that's could.
How do we
not
know?
in all cases. It seems like not in all cases people who are murdered hang around, but in a lot of cases, especially a brutal, angry murder like that maybe they could, especially in a family, a home where there was so much anger and so much animosity between them. Yeah. So
it definitely could be haunted. Like, I think so.
But the thing is that this Lutz family that bought this, we're not sure if they
what their intentions
were. What are their intentions here? Because they could have seen this as an opportunity. No one wants this house. We can probably get a sick deal on this house because no one fucking wants it. And, we could have it for a temporary amount of time and like cash in on this paranormal thing because of what has happened here.
Right.
And I'm sure the rumors around the town were really getting going. I'm sure a lot of people were kind of interested in that.
Well, it seems like other than maybe cleaning up the house, they left everything the same.
Yes, they spent $400. That's it. To buy all the furniture that the DeFeo family had in their house, which is so weird. Like, who would go into someone's house and be like, yo, I want all this furniture? Well, I guess it does happen like in really rich places and stuff, but $400 for everything.
Nice ass shit. Like
I wonder
we were
if they
talking
kept
about,
their
like
giant ass portraits.
I don't know, man. I would. Just kidding. I would sell that shit straight off the bat. Yeah. So like they and the furniture is fucking in the same place it was the night of the murders, as far as we know, but still just thinking about how creepy and weird that is. Why would you buy a house and move into it with all the same furniture from a family that was just killed in the house?
Seems like maybe they wanted to keep the creepiness going.
Right. I mean, and that's really like first sign of, are they up to something more here than just, innocent family moving into this house? Because like literally not even a few years after, this author who became famous, Jay Anson, wrote the bestseller titled The Amityville Horror, which is where the whole fucking this story gets propelled from just a local case to a horror, literally like icon, like it's icon status now. It's literally, everybody knows it. Everybody knows the Amityville Horror, the Amityville murders, things like that, because literally where this book started. And there's been over 20 movies made on this story in some fashion. Obviously they change and add things to it, but they've really capitalized the amount of money that's been made off of this fucking poor family.
Yeah.
Is absurd. And they haven't gotten any of it. Like,
definitely not.
And that's what's just so suspicious is like the Lutz family was like, oh yeah,
they cashed in big time.
Let's fucking team up here and make hella money off this. So according to them and according to this book, they give a recollection of the paranormal events that occurred in the house when the Lutz family moved in, because they actually only lived in the house for 28 days. And then they fled. They're like, we're out. It's fucking crazy. So listen to what happened here.
It's very short.
So according to the book, a priest actually was there when the family moved in to bless it.
Okay, so the fact that they showed up day one with the priest, they knew it was haunted.
Yeah.
Like, they knew what they were getting into, and they'd be like, oh, it'd be really great for the story if we started it out with a nice priest blessing.
Well, it shows they know about paranormal right there. It gives away the paranormal. Because unless you were like really religious, maybe, but even then, I'm like, I don't know any really religious people, maybe back then, who would like get a priest to like bless. I guess maybe to bless.
I guess
pray
they could have
over it.
heard though. They could have heard what had happened there. They probably did. I mean, chances are they know what had happened there either way.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Even if they weren't trying to make money off of it, but they could have been like, to their credit, like, yeah, let's just, some crazy shit happened here. Let's get the priest to come in. But I don't know. It does seem it smells of scam and
I don't know though. Like at the same time, I'm like, well, if I was moving into that house, I'd probably do the same thing. I would never move into that house. I'd want a fucking like.
Yeah, I mean, I would sage that bitch. That's for sure. But
everybody coming through there to rid that house of, because there's some fucking bad energy there.
Yep.
But then again, it does look suspicious, right? So the Lutz family is unloading their moving van, and the priest goes into the house and starts doing his thing, and he goes upstairs to the second floor and enters the northeast bedroom, which is where Mark and John where they stayed. And as he sprinkled holy water around the room and recited a prayer, he heard a loud male voice allegedly say, get out.
Ugh.
Although the priests did not tell the family about the voice, what? Why wouldn't you tell the family about the voice?
What?
What? Yeah,
Let's just
according
keep
to the
this for
story.
them.
Yeah. I better not tell them about that guy.
Oh my God.
The priest did warn them, however, to not use it as a bedroom. Don't let anybody sleep in there, supposedly.
Oh.
Yeah. And according to an article actually from that time, the Lutzes actually followed the priest's advice and turned the room into a sewing room. And from the very first night they moved in, the family claimed they felt strange sensations. In the book, he wrote that the family's personality drastically changed. That's like classic for any like horror story,
Yeah.
you know, like an innocent family moves in and they all slowly get angrier and, you know, more violent. But then again, maybe they are. On one occasion in the book, the young couple beat their children with a strap and large wooden spoon. After moving to the house, the children apparently had become brats. Ooh. And then over the next few weeks, things got even worse. There was a stench of bile to the smell of cheap perfume. The fam became increasingly perplexed by the mysterious odors that would emanate from different locations of the house. Black stains appeared on the toilets and could not be lifted even with Clorox. Oh, fuck?
That's some nasty shit.
I would be like, what the fuck is this?
Seriously, I'd move out because of that. Be like, get me out of here.
Then it gets better. Green slime ran down the walls.
Green slime.
That's some extremely paranormal shit.
That sounds fake, honestly.
Yeah,
I haven't heard of that in any other cases.
Well, I'm like, why would a
cases.
fucking ghost like want to slime us? Like,
yeah.
Why would he be, or, you know, like, why would a spirit or entity or demon, whatever the fuck you want to call
like
it?
Nickelodeon slime
like,
shit.
Let's slime these guys. I'll scare them. Slime their asses. Or put some black stains on there. See how they like that? Like, it does make you wonder, like, that all sounds very, like, made up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it does.
As crazy and scary as that is, like, I'm just like, did they really do that shit? Like, why would they do that shit? Why would they fuck with my toilet and fuck with my wall? And why would they do that, you know?
Yeah.
That to me, just like, I don't know, I'm pretty skeptical about that. And apparently, hundreds of flies appeared in the sewing room one day. Even though it was the middle of the winter.
That's so gross.
That's always like, in any horror movie where there's tons of flies, I'm like, oh, that'd be awful, you know? Walking into a room with like hundreds and billions of flies flying around you, all disease looking. And then, of course, in the book and in the movies and everywhere else, pretty much there's always the, you know, the crucifix that's on the wall that gets flipped down, you know, like the whatever evil spirit is in the house is like flipping all the crosses upside down, which, you know, they always like try to tie it to like a demonic type possession, like a satanic thing, you know. It always goes back to like this, why do evil spirits automatically get associated with Satan and Lucifer and hell? Why does it always go there first? Like, what if these spirits are just like, maybe they're angry or they're a negative energy, but maybe it's not like they're not doing it in direct response to it being like a religious thing, you know?
Yeah, totally.
They're just doing it because it's on the wall,
negative,
with
positive of the world. But I think that religious people believe that anything negative stems back to the devil, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, anybody that believes any sort of Judaic, Christian, Catholic, any of those religions.
Yeah. So there you go.
Believe in a hell, and you know, if you see that's why they don't like seeing crosses flipped upside down. You flip a cross upside down in any Christian house, you're gonna have a problem. Like,
yeah.
If I did that in front of my mom would be like, Josh, are you okay? What is wrong? We need to go to church right now. Because I mean, instantly that's just like known. You don't do that. You don't flip the cross upside down or the crucifix. And then the phenomena turned physical. Kathy Lutz was victimized by unseen touches. Ooh, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Credit carded. Just credit carded by a fucking ghost or a spirit or a demon or something.
Gosh. You know, people say you can have sex with ghosts.
That's a whole nother fucking thing. Oh my god.
No, whole nother podcast.
I've heard a couple people that are like, I have intimate relations with a spirit.
That's something else I heard Trisha Paytas say in that Chris Clemens video. She says she has sex with ghosts. I'm very curious about it.
I'm sure
I'm curious. I've heard a lot of people say they have sex with ghosts.
I'd love to hear more about
Goldberg talk about it. I don't know if she's like done it, but she's talked about it.
I just don't understand how that makes sense, but
I don't think there's like actual
anything's
penetration
possible.
involved. I think it's just like
Anything's possible.
spiritual loving. I don't know.
I feel it radiate.
I don't know. It's strange,
I
but
don't know,
I
man.
would be super interested to talk to someone who's had ghost sex. That's a whole nother topic.
Ooh.
But yeah, that would be creepy to be touched by a
Be
ghost.
touched and then like sometimes forced to pass out.
Ooh.
Just get like knocked out. And then on the other hand, George Lutz would sit by the fire for hours because he suffered from constant chills. Because like that's one thing in a lot of paranormal cases that is a similarity is like cold spots, cold areas, or really hot, like temperature changes.
Yeah.
Is really interesting to me. Like there's a lot of, and that's the thing with this whole story and just horror in general is it takes unexplained phenomena and just dramatizes it.
Yeah.
And makes it way crazier than it actually needs to
top.
be, even though it's already fucking crazy if you think about it. Like something is clearly happening, but we're not focusing on that. We're, taking it up a couple levels. So he had constant chills in the house and he would wake up nightly at 3:15 a.m. Randomly. And he believed that there was a connection between that was the time that supposedly all the family had died and he's now waking up at that time. And as the months progressed, apparently the situation worsened for the family. The author reported that George woke one night to witness his wife transform into a 90-year-old hag.
Ooh.
Oh my God, what the fuck?
That seems so hard to believe. I just feel like this is so fucking over the top. Like I've heard paranormal stories and they're just not like this theatrical. Like
nobody's getting transmorphed into a fucking hag.
yeah. And I really do believe in hauntings. Like I believe in a lot of haunted houses, but
I give it more dignity and respect than that.
It seems like this family just totally cashed in on this whole haunted idea.
And I mean, at the time,
really sad.
It was perfect timing because like this was like when horror was really just starting
booming.
to get going and people ate that up. They're like, yum, yum, num, num, num. Give me that fucking horror tea, man. Yeah. Because, they gave a really dramatic story about what happened. And apparently after she transformed into the hag, the next night she began levitating off the bed. Her husband had to grab her before she floated away. Floaty.
That's just like such a load of shit.
So now
how come
she's
they
getting,
didn't get a documentary then, like a good documentary?
It was in the 1970s, bruh.
Still, like now, why wouldn't they come to them now?
Because a book is way easier to sell at the time.
Yeah,
man.
that's true. You don't have to answer questions on
People
camera.
had fucking like shitty ass TVs, man. They didn't even have like color stuff, really.
They did. The 70s?
Yeah, but I mean, it was shit.
Yeah, but by the 80s, I feel like they could have done something, or like the 90s, or why didn't they even go back to these people now? Are they still alive? I wonder if they're alive. Maybe not.
The Lutzes? I don't know.
Could be.
Probably, honestly.
Yeah. Surprised they haven't done
But no,
anything.
the book sold like fucking hotcakes, man.
Yeah, the book would be easier.
Easy.
Yep. And people really like, it was a story.
Yeah.
The whole story.
Because I mean, it's not like everybody reading it was like, oh,
so they
this
made
is fact.
mad money off this.
Oh, millions and millions of dollars.
Yep. It seems like they had it all planned before they even moved into the house.
Yeah, and here's where the story really just gets broken wide open because according to the story, the family got so scared, realizing they needed help, contacted the same priest that had originally come to the house to perform another blessing. And according to this book, the priest had been feeling after effects from the first blessing, of course. And basically whatever was haunting their house was also haunting the priest.
Yeah.
Now, this was literally just completely false because the actual priest was contacted and the guy said that he never even set foot in the house. They had a phone call.
What? Okay, so this is definitely bullshit.
So Butch's lawyer named William Weber did a radio interview with the priest. Mm-hmm. And he said that.
Wow.
So that right there just basically like, I mean,
yeah.
The very beginning is a lie. Like, so can you even trust this at all? I don't think you can. I mean, it's, and it's so like out there. It's like, come on, like really,
Yeah, that really
levitating
is.
out the bed. Like, that's scary and all. I get it. it makes for a good fucking horror movie. I'll give you that. Whenever they do that shit, like when they start flying off or covers get ripped off. And I mean, whatever, that might happen. But like levitating bodies, like that's crazy.
Yeah, that really is.
Could it really happen?
It could.
Fuck, man.
I mean, it could happen.
Something happened to me.
No,
man.
dude, you don't want that. Trust me. I listened to like YouTube videos of people who've gone through like hauntings or have been haunted by something or have felt like something's attached to them. And it's fucking terrifying. Like you do not want to have an experience like this. Trust me.
Well, I need to talk to some people because I want to have this experience because I want to confirm.
You want to get thrown around in your bed by a demon?
I want to fucking go toe to toe with one, man.
No way, man. I don't know.
I want to have a fucking like.
Josh really wants to stay overnight at the Stanley Hotel in Colorado in Estes Park, which is where The Shining was filmed, and it's supposed to be really haunted. I have a whole video on it on my channel.
I believe it's 100% haunted.
Oh, it is. I mean,
we went on the ghost tour.
Yeah,
we literally saw some shit
right in front of our eyes, doors opening. We saw shit. It felt so haunted in there. Like, and people, it is like people stay there every night, and things happen every fucking night to people in there. So. That hotel is haunted. Shane stayed there. Shane Dawson and Ryland and them.
Fuck yeah, he did. Yeah,
he did. So we want to do that eventually, but I don't know. I'm kind of terrified. Like I know that there will be no sleeping for me if we do that. Like it'll be an all night.
I wouldn't want to sleep.
No, but like that's when they say that the ghost comes out, like when you're sleeping.
I need that experience. I need to feel that. I don't know. I feel like I'm stuck behind a wall. And
of like wanting to believe and not fully
I think
being
that
able
like
to.
because of my upbringing and because I was so programmed that I'm still deprogramming myself and therefore like you don't have any walls up for your connection to the spiritual realm, but I feel like I still have all these walls put up and like filters and everything. I'm not truly connecting with it, so like I'm seeing stuff, but I'm not feeling like what you're feeling. Like I don't walk into a space and feel energies. I really don't. As much as I try to. I can't, like I can feel my own energy, but I can't feel anything else.
I had so tonight, Josh and I were even, we were looking at like, we were at this house. We were just looking at this area. Just a random house
for sale. And we were like,
yeah. And I just was standing on the property and I started feeling like super sick and weird. I want to go into that house because it is for sale. I want to like book a thing and go. Yeah, we were just like checking out this person's house because it happened to be for sale, but. Yeah, I don't know. I like started feeling
I don't get
sick.
That at all.
I was on their property. I started feeling sick, and I wasn't even in the house. And it's an older house, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I've never walked in anywhere. Even at the Stanley, I did. Like you can definitely feel like how people say you can feel the air is heavy or you feel like
cold,
and I did feel that in like the most haunted area. Yeah. I definitely felt a little bit of that.
I
for
felt
sure.
off too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But as for like just anywhere else, like I don't usually. Feel that too much. Like,
and I mean, I have no idea. The house we were at tonight, I could have just been having like a anxiety. I don't know. It felt like I was about to have an anxiety attack. My heart was like racing. I was having heart palpitations. I felt sick and nauseous and dizzy. Like I felt like I was going to throw up. It was so weird. I just wanted to get out of there. And we were just standing in like a backyard. So I don't know. I need to go in the actual house and see if it was just like part of my health issues or if it was actually something.
I'm curious now to
I felt really weird. I can't even explain it. I wanted to like rip my hair out standing there. It was bizarre.
See, that's weird. And because I had the opposite experience. I was like,
I could have just been feeling sick or I don't really know.
Yeah.
I felt weird, but
I don't know. I think that's interesting. And I definitely want to experience the paranormal. I want one of my parents
to come on and talk about their experience staying in. I wish they would come together even though they're divorced, maybe they'll come together for a podcast on Mrs. Boggs' house that they used to stay in, the haunted house.
Yeah.
I've talked about it on this before, but really they have some pretty crazy stories of like, my mom was like locked in a room by a ghost. She thought my dad locked her up in this attic room. And it turned out that there was like somehow a chair got put up underneath the doorknob and she couldn't get out. She was locked in there. And she thought my dad was fucking with her, but he was actually setting up a fireplace on a whole different area of the house. Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. And my mom said she would see towels move and stuff. And my dad dad believes it.
Yeah.
And my dad's like really, really cynical about that kind of stuff. Not cynical, but skeptical.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
See, and that stuff is the most believable to me when I see evidence of things opening and closing and like it's little things that you may not catch in the moment too, that happen that you just aren't aware of. And I think that's what a lot of paranormal and just phenomena in general is.
Yes.
It's things that happen all around us all the time that are unexplained, yet we just don't notice them.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And if you like did a replay on life, there's probably so many moments where we're experiencing paranormal shit.
No, we definitely are, I think.
And we just don't know it.
Have you ever got a feeling that like something is with you or you're not alone, and when you actually are alone? I've had times where I'm like, I'm not alone right now, or I don't feel like, I just feel like something else is there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I would like to experience more, but like I said, there's a fine line for me.
You don't have a desire to like immerse yourself in
because
those
I really
environments?
feel like it's disrespectful to fuck with the ghost too much. I don't know. That's my opinion on it. I just
But what
feel
about like obviously there's spirits that want to communicate with you, like mediums and stuff. They're communicating.
No, I
with
love
spirit.
that. If they come to the medium, that means they want to communicate. But if you're sitting in a haunted house, like provoking a spirit, trying to catch it on camera and yelling at it and trying to record it and saying, "Are you mad?" And they're literally like, "Get out," and you just stay. That's where I'm like, I would never do that shit.
Yeah, but they're trying to get the evil spirits out. You don't want that to happen.
Okay, I mean, or they could just stay there. That's what I'd say. Let them stay and move, bitch.
So if the Amityville house was haunted and it had evil spirits in it, you don't think they should go and get those out?
No,
so
I
that
think they
more
should
people can
just
move
be
in?
able to live there on their own. They
don't pay rent. They don't fucking do shit, man.
Dude, there was 5 of them murdered in there. If there's actually ghosts in there, they should be able to stay. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but how?
I'm talking about ghost rights here, people.
You're a ghost activist. I like it.
I am. Yeah, I have this.
Because I mean, for me, I'm like, if there is evil spirits or demons are actually a real thing, then I think absolutely we need people fucking if there's a way to get them out of here or return them. What about like, do you think that people can take these spirits or ghosts and kind of force them where they came from or into whatever's next? Or do you think there's an ability to like kind of push them forward? Like maybe they're kind of stuck, like jammed in a like fucking drain. You got to unclog the drain and let them like get through. And they need your help sometimes. They need you to like communicate.
Well, I guess in that sense. See, this is why I need someone I need a paranormal person to come talk to me and explain this stuff to me. Got one. I just don't understand the world enough to like want to fuck with it. I'm scared of it a little bit. I believe in it so much that it scares me, you know?
I understand. And I think an expert will be able to provide some more insight than what we can.
Yeah, definitely.
Which, by the way, I think we got at least 2 potential guests, paranormal experts. So
we got some good guests lining up, you guys. We're getting excited. We're having some experts and people who can like lay the knowledge down on you guys.
Yeah, because I mean, fuck, we're not experts, guys. We're not.
Well, clearly. We use Google.
Well, I kind of am a little bit, but.
Oh, sure.
JK. So yeah, the rest of the Amityville story, as far as the book goes, they claim that their daughter had befriended an invisible red-eyed pig named Jody. And Jody could not be. Yeah. What the fuck, man? Why a red-eyed pig?
Who the fuck would be like, yo, this is my friend, my red-eyed pig friend named Jody?
Just reminds me. Jody. Hi, I'm Jody.
Oh my God.
I'm the red-eyed pig. I'm invisible. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. Scary? Hell yeah. But real? I don't know. Apparently at times it was a little bit bigger than a teddy bear and other times bigger than the house.
Ooh.
Fuck.
Damn.
Oh, man. So they go on and they have so many other stories where Jody's standing behind his stepdaughter in her bedroom. And then separate evenings, she started to see 2 red eyes peering through the darkness from the window. Like Jody's now looking through the window. So basically just a bunch of creepy faces looking through the windows and stuff. It also talked about how like, and this is kind of more believable. There was, unexplained forces, which caused significant property damage to the house, such as the front door being ripped off its hinges, windows being smashed, banisters being torn. I mean, again, paranormal or just normal weather, could be either, I think.
Yeah.
But of course the meteorological stations are like, oh, there's no weather. Could have been that. So it's obviously some paranormal forces that were ripping the house to shreds.
Jeez.
But I mean, it's like, all the shit is happening, this is the most fucking crazy paranormal. This is like hell. This is like the real hell house, right?
Yeah, seriously.
If all this is happening, there's a red-eyed pig running around like scaring you.
So scary.
Your house is getting ripped apart. Your mom's levitating off the bed. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Even the dog's getting choked. It's just like,
it's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, all these events are crazy, and I don't know. Here's one more. One of the wilder claims is that George woke up one night to the sound of a marching band in his living room.
What?
There's a ghost pretending to be a marching band.
But I don't understand. Like, if it was the ghosts from the house, like, it should be the family that's haunting them. Like, why would all these random ghosts be in the house?
Great fucking point.
You know, like, because we have looked into hauntings where there are creepy other things that aren't people who have died there, but they were summoned by people in the past, according to people in history. So yeah, what the hell?
So the explanation is, in this case, could be complete bullshit. but I'll give it to you. Apparently George Lutz dabbled in like black magic, like occult. And I hate saying occult because like I'm learning more about the occult, which is really fascinating to me. It can be kind of dark, but it is very interesting because a lot of people are confused. The occult is like really, you know, like witchcraft, black magic, ritualistic stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean like Satan or Lucifer or anything that have to do with hell or demons, but it could be like some type of evil entities being summoned via black magic and things like that.
Yes.
So George was known to dabble in that. Is there any evidence of him doing any sort of ritualistic practices or anything like that in the house? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But that's people's reason for why this could have happened and why, you know, maybe he summoned something and then maybe it attached itself to them. And when they left the house, it went with them. And yeah, because I think they did say shit started happening after they left too. So maybe they did have some crazy shit happening in there because he summoned something.
Well, like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? You move into this, like, it's so clear, especially when you hear he dabbled in the occult. Then he definitely moved in this house because he thought it was haunted and he could, like, stir some shit up. I don't know. It's like someone like that, I am just less likely to believe their story.
And the fact that they were literally only in it for 28 days.
Yeah.
Is kind of
like,
really, guys? You just bought it and then you're out in 28 days?
Yeah, it's really weird.
They apparently moved to their mother's home, Kathy's mother's home in Babylon, Long Island. So that was their claims. That was the book. Again, we don't know about whether that story is true or not, but what we do know is that famous, world-renowned paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren, which Lorraine actually just recently died this year.
Oh.
These guys are legends in the paranormal
world.
I mean, they're really we're at the forefront of this field, and they actually went to this house. They went to the Amityville house in 1976 to conduct a seance in the house. And when they were doing this, they also brought along two doctors from the American Society for Psychical Research, as well as the senior research associate from the Psychical Research Foundation. So not only did he bring doctors, but they brought everybody to this seance, which Lorraine Warren was a clairvoyant. So
Interesting.
Yeah. So she goes into these places and is able to conduct a seance or, you know, commune with the dead, I believe is what's happening there. And this is interesting. So the encounter was so awful and was so sinister that she felt that there was absolutely nothing she could do to help or eject the spirit from the house. Apparently they encountered Butch's spirit during the seance. So I don't know. I'm not an expert on seances. I don't know exactly how that would work, but according to this article, essentially they said that when she was doing the seance, she encountered Butch's spirit during it, and that his spirit was so awful and so sinister. Like his spirit was somehow part of the house.
How? Isn't he in jail?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's
I don't
not
know.
dead.
That could be wrong. Yeah, I don't know. Don't take my word on that. I don't know for sure.
That's really strange.
Because I couldn't like cross-reference this. So
yeah,
if
there's
I'm
so
wrong
much
in that, I don't know.
BS when it comes to this case. It seems like there's just so much random stuff out there.
But other than, and again, this is clairvoyance connecting with the spirit too. But as far as supernatural events that happened during these seances that were held that night, basically there wasn't that much that happened. I mean, there was what'd they say? There was moans and groans, black shadow. And then there's this picture that they took that supposedly maybe shows a demonic boy photograph, is what it's called. But then again, I mean, I don't know for sure if that was taken on that night. That's what they said. But I mean, that could be a, double exposed photo or something that has some weird stuff in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it does kind of look like a head. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is like
glowing
pretty creepy
eyes
looking. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fake pictures out there. It's not that hard to fake shit.
No, ghost photos are actually pretty
fake.
easy to fake. Yeah. Spirit photography actually began in early 1860s. So they've been able to do that kind of stuff for a long time. But both the American Psychical Foundation and the Research Foundation said that there was nothing paranormal in the house. They further added that they would have used scientific methods to measure any phenomena had any been present, and not the psychic methods of the Warrens. So the Warrens were having these psychic experiences in the house, but these other doctors that were there did not report any sort of paranormal events while they were in there and the seances were occurring. So like Lorraine was having experiences, but they weren't. Psychic experience because she's psychic, clairvoyant, but they weren't.
Seems like a lot of the best people in the ghost hunting are clairvoyant.
But it makes sense if you think about it. Like, I think the people that are going to have the most intense experience are the ones that are able to connect to that. Right. Because like, I feel like if you and I went into a actually haunted place, which one of us would start having paranormal phenomena happening to us first? Maybe you, because you just already have that happening, just fucking go into some random house,
Yeah.
And I don't feel that unless I'm in a really intense environment.
But I have no idea. I could have just literally felt sick or had a random anxiety attack.
And that's true with all this stuff, is right? It could all just be fucking made up in the brain.
Could be.
Us mistaking shit for other things, or brain playing tricks on us.
Well, I think a lot of this paranormal stuff, like there's a lot of truth in it, but there's also a lot of or people that are confused or think they've experienced things that they haven't.
Yeah, no. I think it is tough, though. It really is tough because a lot of it is bullshit, unfortunately. Like I see a lot of, the more I've dug into this field, the more I've realized there's a lot of people just faking shit.
Oh, yeah.
all day, every day.
Yeah.
And because people will fall for it, unfortunately. Like some people just believe everything that, is crazy and outrageous, like a fucking article on Twitter.
Yes.
Like Jesus.
Yeah. Oh my God. People had been sending me this article. I don't know if any of you guys have seen this, but it was like this guy named Jerry Richards who had apparently killed 700 people, had 700 bodies on his property in Naples, Florida.
And I was like,
and people are sending it to me like, do a podcast on this. I was like, yo, so all you got to do is Google Gary Richardson or whatever the fuck his name was. And it came up in like 2 seconds and said,
scroll down on the tweet. Like,
well, and just think like if someone had 700 bodies on their yard, you'd hear about it. It'd be on like CNN.
It'd be everywhere.
Yeah. That wouldn't just like fly under the radar.
Oh my God. That'd be like insanity, dude.
Yeah, it really would.
That'd be worse than like digging up H.H. Holmes' old spot. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that'd be insane. So again, like people will believe the most ridiculous things, unfortunately. And for me, I always look at this unexplained phenomena stuff. Like I believe a lot of it is real, even though I have never experienced it or seen it firsthand based upon other people's experiences. Right. Because do I know for sure if I think it's 100% real? No, I don't know because I've never experienced it myself.
Yeah, how are you supposed to know? Yeah.
And like, if there's a way to experience the paranormal to see if it's really real for you or not, then like, why not do that? Just so what you can see.
Yeah.
Because I feel like after you have a real paranormal experience, you're going to figure out like, do I want to have anything to do with this or not? Like,
you'll either be intrigued or you want to stay the fuck away.
Yeah. Like get me away from this.
Yep.
So yeah, it really seems pretty obvious that the Lutzes most likely fabricated these stories.
Yeah.
In order
just from the kind of people they were.
Yeah, in order to sell the book, The Amityville Horror, which sold more than 3 million copies And then it was turned into a major motion picture, which grossed more than $80 million.
Wow. So much, man. 80 million. Did they get a piece of that too?
Oh, yeah. And then they went on tour, promoted the book as a true story too.
Wow.
And that's another thing that I've learned kind of from researching this too, is like a lot of these movies that are like based on a true story or based on true events, you got to really look at it deep, because how much of it was really based on true events. Like they might take like just a general premise and then run with it and blow it up and make it crazier. Like some of the scariest movies I've ever seen, like The Conjuring or Sinister, like I'm like,
Yeah.
Or The Strangers, like that's one that creeped me out a lot.
Dude, I don't know how you watch that kind of stuff. That just the commercials scare me. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've never even seen it.
Yeah. I don't know. And see, that's the thing is I do get scared. I'm not going to lie. I get scared when I watch that stuff, and like it freaks me out. Sometimes afterwards I'll be like, don't want to be alone. I'm paranoid that I hear noises.
Why do
and
that
stuff.
to yourself? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd rather learn about some real shit that could actually happen to me. I don't know. Honestly, you'd think the real stuff would scare me more, because that's obviously more likely to happen.
Right. Like
I don't know why. I seriously don't know why. I'm so weird. I hate scary movies, but I love true crime. I love all this stuff. I just don't like to watch it acted out.
I get that. And I think a lot of people are in the same boat as you. Like, some people just don't want to put that negativity in their head. And I get that.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. If you have anxiety, it's like, why give myself anxiety for 2 hours? Like, I
wouldn't be like watching that kind of shit every day. Like, I couldn't do that every day.
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch that often, like here and there, but yeah, I don't know. Well, the last interesting thing I'll mention about the Lutzes is that they did take a lie detector test about their story, and they did pass that.
Interesting.
Which, again, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Like, people can
fake lie detectors
fake lie
easily.
detectors, or
But I don't know. I mean, they could be telling the truth.
I don't have the lie detector test in front of me, so I don't fucking know.
Interesting story, though. Really is.
It's extremely interesting. So, where's that house now? You want to go see it?
No. And they've interviewed people in the town. They're like, please don't come see it.
Yeah, they're so sick of it, because people flock there every year to fucking take pictures of it. And probably, because it's privately owned now. It was actually last sold in the summer of 2016. And they actually changed the address from 112 to now 108 Ocean Avenue, which that did nothing if they're trying to
people still
keep people away from it. But
it'd be interesting to talk to the current owners and see if they're having any issues or if they've noticed anything.
Yeah.
Imagine living in that house, man.
But still, like, even just the fact, would you ever want to live in a house that had something as
Dude, I'd tear
tragic,
that down and build a new.
Brutal. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I feel like, fuck.
Yeah.
And you see
really
that in so many hauntings where people, that's the reason why their shit's haunted, is because literally, people died in their house, and people that have died in, a negative way.
Yeah.
Oftentimes linger behind and can imprint or whatever and start haunting the place or the space or whatever. And I think that's very possible. So I would just tear the shit down. But I mean, apparently people are living in it and they haven't torn it down yet. And according to Zillow, it sold for $605,000 in February of 2017. And none of the other owners have reported experiencing anything paranormal while in the residence.
Yeah. So there you go.
So
right there.
everybody except for the Lutzes have not experienced paranormal.
Interesting.
So it's like, either what happened was George was some type of black mage summoner that summoned a demon from the depths of...
Or he just was interested in this whole world. He saw an opportunity and he jumped.
Maybe.
And they're like, we could get this house wicked cheap, and look what we could do, babe.
Flip it.
And make this whole thing.
Get rich.
Flip it into a whole story. Flip it into a lot of fucking money.
Flip it into millions.
Interesting. Crazy.
So like, there's some... people have, over time been like, oh, there's this reason why it could be haunted, this reason that could be haunted. Like, some people said that there was old Indian burial grounds underneath it, things like that. Or
which I'm pretty sure
debunked.
Our house is too, though. Like, this whole area in
who knows,
Colorado
everywhere
is Native American.
For all we know, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, they thought it was like a planned burial ground, and it's not. Like, they've debunked pretty much all the claims as far as to why it could be haunted. Or they did say like someone from Salem came down and was like a witch or something and lived in it. I mean, you know how people find every reason to try to like make a place
What do you
haunted.
guys think? Let us know. Do you think that the house is actually haunted? And who do you think carried out the murders? Was it just Butch, or was it Butch and Dawn, or Butch, Dawn, and someone else we don't know about?
Or was it just like one of them got possessed? And
Could
then,
there have been a possession? Yeah.
Was one possessed, even though there's no evidence that he was possessed, because he did like get rid of everything very methodically. But
yeah,
I mean, who knows? I mean, yeah, let us know what you guys think about this, or
yes, please,
your opinions on this interesting case. But yeah, I like talking about the paranormal, so it's kind of fun. We should do a more like haunted ghost type thing.
One that's not bullshit.
Not a bullshit haunting.
Yes. And like I said, we want to get some paranormal
experts we will.
We will
one.
be getting.
We have one, which
in the works.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a pretty big
maybe
deal.
the next like week or two even.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like ASAP.
Oh, ASAP Rocky. Okay.
We just like beam that back to each other. That's so
Stop.
funny.
My dog's attacking my leg. She's done.
She
like, wants to go upstairs.
But
it is like almost midnight. We're podcasting. Sorry, puppy. Sorry.
But we will go ahead and wrap it up there, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of the Mile Higher Podcast. If you did, leave us a like, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Instagram, Twitter. Check us out. Follow us so you never miss an episode or some juicy news. But yeah, thanks again for listening. We will see you guys next week.
Stay safe.
And stay woke.